Welcome to Inbetween Diary of a Film Part 5. In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you the importance of budget and how to construct a budget. Assuming you've already got a script, you've shown it to everyone, you're 100% confident with the script, you've written a summary of the script, you've written a bio, you're preparing a deck that you're going to show fundraisers, and you've incorporated, like I've taught you to. I'm going to use my experience as an independent film director and producer with films like Inbetween, which you can watch in the link, to help you get your first film off the ground. Now, with the budget, you're going to have to think about so many different things. And we're going to get to that in a bit. But the first thing you have to realize is you're going to have to make two budgets, okay? You're going to have to make the maximum budget, assuming that you can, have all the best equipment, unionized crew, A-list actors, everything, and you just put in, the largest numbers possible, and that will actually attract some bigger investors, because if you actually pitch too small, people will think you're kind of rinky-dink and not really serious. But on the other hand, it may be hard to attract that kind of talent if you're a fledgling film director, and so you have to go to the other end of the spectrum and actually create a budget that's bare minimum, shoestring, kind of guerrilla film director kind of budget. And then you're going to have two, and depending on who you show your deck to, you will put one budget or the other, or anything in between. Now, I also have a tech startup company in energy materials, and I have so many different decks, and I change my deck every day according to who I show it to, okay? And so anyway, the budget, okay? In the budget, and we're going to go over all these points in more detail in later videos, you have to think about how much are you going to pay the actors. Okay, it's important to get at least, one A-list actor into your film, even if there's someone who hasn't been in a film for a long time and they've gone to doing theater and their career is sort of on the skids. Try to get an A-list actor and think about how much you could possibly pay them. Also, even if they're normal actors, you have to pay them something. I don't believe it's right to ask actors to work for nothing, because when you're shooting a film, sometimes you're shooting for 18 hours a day, and it's just not right to make people work 18 hours a day for nothing. That's actually cruel and exploitive, in my opinion. You're going to have to think about the crew. Is it going to be a unionized crew or a small crew, kind of like Vincent Gallo guerrilla style? When Inbetween, it was just me and the assistant director, who was also the sound man. I was a cinematographer, and I did all the other jobs. I did the art direction, the location scouting, casting. I did everything myself, including the editing, and that helped save a lot of money. But I had a lot of experience from previous films that I worked on, either my own or someone else's films, and so I could do that, and that saved up money for other areas of the film. But if you don't have that experience, you have to consider getting a professional crew, and how much that is going to cost on the kind of the union rates. Okay, and if you don't want to go according to the union rates, you have to contact the local union anyway and tell them you're making a film, because you don't want to get the union angry. And they will usually say, with Inbetween, I told them that I was going to make a film outside of the union and I was going to shoot it myself, and they said, fine, we're cool with that. Okay, and then other things like travel to various locations, that costs money. And Inbetween, I didn't get any A-list actors. I almost got, I tried to get Tilda Swinton interested, and I actually, they turned me down, but I saw her a year later in my hotel, the Avalon in Los Angeles. She was staying in the room right next to me, and I got to watch her sunbathing right next to me, and I kind of thought, well, you could have been in my film. She was there to present the Oscar, because the previous year she won it for Michael Clark. Clayton. But anyway, because I didn't get any A-list actors, I was able to actually film all over the world, Tokyo, London, New York, etc. And that gave the film this kind of exotic, kind of expensive feel, okay, to sort of make up for the fact that there were no A-list actors. And then you also have to think of catering. The actors have to eat. In my film, I basically gave them a per diem. I basically gave them what my university gives me when I travel. They gave me a per diem of like, $60 a day, and I could spend that however I liked, or I could spend more if I wanted to splurge. But I gave them a per diem. And then you have to think about location permits. Everywhere you shoot in a city, you need a permit, and that costs money. You have to think about insurance. You have to think about post-production, distribution. You also have to think about how much, like for film festivals, the fees are outrageous. And you don't want to do too many because it'll cost too much, but you want to have thousands of dollars on your film festival budget, if not more, all the marketing and everything, and you're just going to have to really, really research that. But you're going to have to come up with two numbers, the maximum number and the minimum number, and then you'll have two budgets, and then you can actually kind of cut and paste various numbers to get various decks that are all the different points in between the maximum and the minimum. Okay, so you're really going to have to think this through. And in subsequent videos, we are going to talk about each point that I've mentioned independently. So anyway, you can get the novel version of Inbetween on Amazon or anywhere else as a hardcover or an ebook. And I also have a new novel, my 12th, that came out in September. It's a day in the life of a men's fashion and fragrance influencer on his way to meet his estranged daughter in a very Kafka-esque world. Best perfume novel since Patrick Susskind's Perfume, which was Kurt Cobain's favorite novel, and very modernist, very dystopian. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I hope to see you again.